Hello and welcome to the Miraculous Being series. I'm your host and self mastery coach Shweta Shivraman, and this is a show where we discover, learn, and implement lessons from others' life journeys. Others who I believe epitomize miraculous in its truest spirit. Individuals who live life to the fullest, who work hard on themselves to reach where they are, and are passionate in what they do. Today, we have a returning guest speaker on the show. We have Ajay Ushakanth back again with a very interesting topic, something that we usually don't touch upon in the Being Miraculous shows. So I'm very curious to explore and delve this in a deeper way with him. We are going to look at understanding the caste system and how it applies to our modern day lives and professions today. Let's dive in. All right. Welcome back, Ajay. It's so nice to have you once again on the show.
Nice to see you again, Shweta.
Lovely. I think today we have one cracker of a topic to have a conversation around. And I know we discussed that this is not something we've ever explored in the conversation. So I'm very curious. And I know while we said that we'll start with understanding the caste system, I think I'm understanding that the Varnashrama system is part of a larger picture, which is Sanatan Dharma. So shall we start there and then go deeper into the hows and the whys of Varnashram?
Yes, that works well. So let us understand what Sanatan Dharma means. Sanatan Dharma is made up of two words. Sanatan means eternal, Dharma means duty, right? So Hinduism is actually a name given by maybe the latter part, but the Dharma is actually called Sanatan Dharma, which means that knowledge which is available or applicable at any time, right? It's not time specific. So that is what Hinduism is about. And dharma means one's duty, one's responsibilities, the way one looks at life, the way one interacts with everything around. So as a part of Sanatan Dharma, you have two smaller dharmas, which is the Varna Ashrama Dharma, okay, and Swadharma, correct? So in the Varna Ashrama Dharma, Varna means that which is based on the gunas, okay, and ashrama dharma is depending on the stage of life, right? And both these put together become swadharma. So one's duty based on both these, one's varna and one's ashrama. Is that clear?
Yes, absolutely. Do you want to delve into the ashrama system just so that our listeners are up to speed on that before we go into the varnashrama?
Yes. So what was the first basic understanding of the ashrama dharma? It understood that a human being, okay, had four stages, okay. The first stage was the brahmacharya ashrama, wherein he studied scriptures, he studied a skill primarily, okay. And this scriptures and the skill set him up for the grahastha ashrama because it understood that man needs companionship, he needs to be a part of a larger group, which set him up for the grahastha ashrama where he was given a wife, right, to get married formally. And then the wife and the husband put together had certain dharmas, which included having children, bringing them up, right? And the scriptures assume that during this period of time, okay, the person would evolve emotionally, right? And once the first grandchild is born, then he would have understood what the world can give me, what the world cannot give me, and he would phase himself out of this grahastha ashrama and go to vanaprastha. Now, vanaprastha does not mean you go to a forest, right? What it means is his active involvement with the family gradually comes down. He weans himself away, right? And then he understands that I need to spend time with myself, understand what is my real nature, okay? And therefore, he takes to sannyasa, right? So, what is this whole system based on? It's understanding a human being needs security, artha, then he needs some pleasure, which is kama, okay? And then the boundaries are given, which is dharma, right? So that he can pursue artha and kama in a legitimate way. And finally, he understands what I'm actually looking through dharma, artha, kama is actually freedom, right? And that's when the pursuit of moksha comes in, right? This was the broader map that was given with regards to the ashrama dharma, right? And each stage out of the four had its own duties. Even sannyasa, if you look at it, it has its own duties, which is shravanam, mananam, nididhyasanam, right? Or the chanting of a Upanishad or doing something. So across, till a man is alive, he has duties, right? So another way to look at Sanatan Dharma is as long as you're alive, you have duties.
Yeah, no escaping that, even if you escape to the forest. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, beautiful. And I think the reason why I thought we could capsulate is that I'm a big fan of how this ashrama dharma has been actually decoded, right? Because it's very clear that at every life stage there are certain roles and responsibilities, and it kind of is telling you where to direct your energies and efforts, right? So in grihastha ashram, if we go in the sannyasa mode, it's all about losing things in our life here, right? Everything is going to break loose. So it gives so much clarity in terms of where to channel your energy and attention. And I think now I'm curious in terms of how the Varna part of it sits with this entire ecosystem.
See, let us look at the basic philosophy. What is the world made up of? So the ancient master said that the universe is made up of sattva, rajas, and tamas, which are the three gunas, right? And what is sattva? Sattva is intelligence, right? Rajas is energy, and tamas is matter. And the whole universe is nothing but a combination of all these three, right? Now, the proportions may vary depending on the object or the person, but they are a combination of these three, right? Now, once you have understood as the universe being a combination of these three, which means there are many possibilities, right? And that's what makes the universe a universe, diverse. Now, in the same manner, he says a human being is also made up of three components: sattva, rajas, and tamas. Or we can look at it, a human personality is made up of three components: sattva, rajas, and tamas. Therefore, based on these three qualities, okay, is how the Varna system has come up, right? It's not based on birth. Please be very clear. It's on the basis of how these three gunas have come together in an individual. So, if we look at even the Gita shloka, right, Chaturvanya Maya Srishta, chapter number 4, verse number 13, Bhagavan says very clearly, Chaturvanya Maya Srishta Guna Karma Vibhagayo, right? It is based on gunas, and the gunas is what leads to a certain set of karmas. So even in the Gita, okay, Bhagavan Krishna says very clearly, it's based on gunas, okay, and not based on birth, right? I think this itself will give us a lot of clarity.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if we were to look at what is sattva then, right? Let's go it a little deeper. Sattva stands for intelligence, right? My capacity to investigate, also, being calm, composed, right? Rajas stands for energy, passion, dynamism. Then tamas stands for laziness, attachment, right? Now, this is there in every individual in different components. Therefore, the degrees is what adds variety to the human beings. And that is what makes each individual unique.
Right.
So it's just the individual combination which makes him different from the other person.
Yeah.
And the combination is the combination of the three gunas.
Right. Right.
Right. So let's look at what are the four varnas that Bhagavan talks about. He says Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. Right? So if you were to look at what is a Brahmana is one in whom the sattva is predominant. the rajas subserves the sattva, and the tamas subserves the sattva and the rajas. Right? Now, this kind of a personality, a Brahmana personality, is one who will be calm, non-reactive, who will think things through. Okay, who will see, hey, listen, is this a problem of change in understanding first? Right? Do I need to see things differently? Is there a better way to handle it? Now, here is a person who's going to think first and act later. Right? So this is a Brahmana kind of a personality. And who are generally Brahmanas? They used to say teachers, priests, right? And their commitment was to knowledge. So let's look at the Kshatriyas the next. The Kshatriyas are Rajas first, okay? Then Sattva subserves Rajas, and Tamas subserves Rajas and Sattva. Now, what does this mean? This is more or less like what you call a type A personality, the one who's a go-getter, right? But since Sattva is in number 2 place, okay, he's a lot more large-hearted. Number 1. There is knowledge backing everything that he does. He's primarily a doer, and he's the one who will go and fix all the problems in life. Right? And because he's large-hearted, Sattva being in number 2, he's also a sharing person, a giving person. That is why the Kshatriya kings were called Kshatriyas. Now, one thing which is unique about a Kshatriya is if there is a problem, his first reaction is, how am I going to fix it? Right? This differentiates him and a Brahmana. A Brahmana will say, hey, listen, do I need to think differently? But in the case of a Kshatriya, his first response is, hey, how can I fix it? Right? This is the primary difference. Then the Vaishya is the one who's Rajas first, Tamas second, subserves Rajas, and Sattva subserves both Rajas and Tamas. Now, this person is actually very intelligent, hardworking, but because Tamas is in the second place, he is more or less a selfish guy. It's like that, what is in it for me, right? Right? He's extremely intelligent. It's not that because Sattva is number 3, he's not intelligent. But his Sattva will be used primarily to see, hey, listen, what is in it for me? So these are the kind of people who become, let's say traders, businessmen, and they look at themselves first and therefore they flourish a lot. For them, mostly people like these will find it difficult to share. They will be sharing, but compared to a Kshatriya, maybe the heart would be a little smaller than a Kshatriya's. And who's the number 4? Shudra. Now, Shudra is Tamas first, Rajas subserves Tamas, and Sattva subserves Tamas and Rajas. Now, here is a person who will work only that much which is required. Number 2 is this person will need to be pushed to work or to learn. Right? They are not able to apply their minds, and therefore they are the kind of people who will take tasks which are mechanical, repetitive, and which need to be monitored. Now, this is how the 4 castes were divided, right? Varnas. Now, these classifications were actually done for what? To help an individual find out what his strengths are, what his weaknesses are, and based on this, take up a particular skill to make his livelihood. You can look at the simple example, the 5 Pandavas, right? The 5 Pandavas were skillful in 5 different areas. Yudhishthira was good in, managing the kingdom. Okay, Arjuna was in archery, right? Then Bhima was known for his power, Nakula, Sahadeva, right? They have different skills. So these gunas help a person in identifying, hey, listen, what am I good at? And based on that, choose a particular skill and then excel in it and make it as a means to living his life. So are we clear so far?
Absolutely. Thank you for spelling that out so beautifully. So, what I'm definitely taking away is that this entire system was designed in a way to kind of look at what our inherent qualities are, and then to choose a professional domain wherein those qualities can thrive. And that means the friction is much lesser, right? Which is probably what in our current generation is missing, because we don't even look at the strengths, right? We do our MBAs and then say, who am I? So it's the reverse of discovery. But what I'm understanding is that it was designed in a way so that our efforts are aligned to who we are inherently in terms of our inner strengths.
So this when I actually share this thought, there's this new word called nature and nurture, right?
Yeah.
This fits perfectly. First, understand your nature based on the gunas, and then nurture it.
Yeah, true. And I think both
So
play a vital role in our growth as such, right?
exactly.
And I think the natural question that comes to me now at this stage is that you started off by saying that this is dharma which is applicable in all of time, right? It is not time specific. So definitely it is applicable in today's modern times as well. So how does this entire varna system fit in to our modern day world?
So what is the purpose of dharma? Let's look at that before we go into its application. Dharma is to create harmony, right? So husband and wife's dharma is to, I have some roles, I have some responsibilities, and I have some rights. So as long as I commit to my duties and responsibilities and give lesser importance to my rights, okay, there's harmony, isn't it?
Yeah.
So similarly, if one understands what is my dharma given my varna, right, there is going to be an effort towards excellence in whatever profession I take up.
Mm.
And then you come together and then create a harmonious setup in which the whole society grows.
Mm. Mm. Yeah.
So I'd like to give an example. Let's take a simple industry, any manufacturing industry. Okay. And then let's look at that as an ecosystem or a society.
Okay.
So if you were to look at that, who would be the Brahman? The Brahmana would be the CEO, top level management, the people who actually design the whole organization, the ones who have a plan ahead, right? How are we going to execute the plans? Right? These are people who think, right? Their commitment is to think of how we can be better than what we were yesterday as an organization. So you can consider them as the Brahmanas in this particular organization. Now, just thinking is not going to be enough. You would need someone to go out and get business, right? So, what comes in next is the salesman, right? The entire sales team. Right?
Yeah.
These are the guys who are going, who have targets every month. They go out aggressively, go and meet clients, make sure there's business that comes in. Now, these are the Kshatriyas. Now, in addition to getting business, you also need to know how to manage your money. That's where the accounts come in, which you can look at as the Vaishyas. How do you manage money properly? Is this decision good for the financial health of our company? Right? They're a group of people who sit down and look at money, and it's all about maximization of whatever resources you have.
Yeah.
Then you have the Shudras at the last level, which is the employees, right? The factory workers. Now, these are people who actually go about and do the real work. Now, for this whole organization to function and succeed and grow, everyone has to contribute. And once he understands his position in the larger scheme of things, no one's job is superior and no one's job is inferior. everyone is doing his bit for the whole growth of the organization, right? Now, if we don't have all these four, do you think the organization will survive?
No, absolutely
So,
can't.
yeah. So similarly, if you look at society, everyone needs to play his part,
No.
right? And when he plays his part well, then the whole society flourishes.
Yeah. Thank you for that example. I think that just makes it so easy for us to understand in today's context. The question that then comes to me is, do we also not have all of those four parts in us, or is there another way of looking at it? Do we have certain different qualities dominating in different contexts of our own lives?
So if we were to look at our own life, we also have these four in us, isn't it?
Yeah.
We think through something, we go out and react in certain areas of our life, right? We're selfish about certain things. In some areas, we are really lazy. We need to be pushed.
Yeah.
Now, this is there in all of us. So the Varna system not only helps us understand our strengths and weaknesses, okay, and what we are supposed to contribute, but it also forms a system for me to evaluate myself. And once I evaluate myself, it's not to put myself down, but it's for a way for me to see, hey, listen, I'm stuck in this aspect of my life. What are the things that I can do to take myself forward and accomplish the goals that I've set for myself?
Mm.
Right? So, as much as it's important for an individual to understand where he is, he also needs to have a roadmap to go forward. And this understanding of the Varna actually helps an individual.
Right. Right. And can you elaborate more? So, say if someone who's listening to us is doing this for the first time and hearing about the Varnas and the ashramas for the first time, how can they do that evaluation for themselves in terms of where are they right now?
So, I use this very simple example to share this understanding. Let us say that we've gone for a health checkup and the doctor said you need to get up every morning and exercise because your lipids are high, or you put on a little weight, or your blood pressure is high, right? And we are just not able to get up, right? We may be very good in managing our money. We look at the Excel sheet, look at everything, how our investments are doing, right? We may think through all of that, right? We may be diligent at work. We may also be a very good contributor in society. But when it comes to this exercise, we are just lazy.
Mm.
Right? So we can say in this aspect of my life, I'm a Shudra. Now, if I need to get out of this laziness, how am I going to do it? I have one possibility, which is look at this Varnashrama Dharma and say, in this Varna, I'm a Shudra. Now I need to move one notch up.
Mm.
Right? So who's a Vaishya now? A Vaishya is someone who's selfish,
Mm.
right? So now you can set up a small goal for yourself. If I exercise 6 days a week, then the seventh day I can go and have a cheat day, right? Or if I exercise for 6 months in a row, then I can go on a holiday. Right? Now it's about me, isn't it? There's selfishness involved. Now, what happens is when I see a reward at the end of the journey or at the end of the week, whatever you set up as a goal, that is motivating me to act. It is the reward which is making me get up in the morning, put on my shoes and go for a walk or go to the gym or whatever activity I've taken up. And this step helps me comes out of that laziness.
Mm.
Now let's take this journey forward. This person actually now exercises 6 days a week, and it's been a year since he's done it. Now, what he realizes as a result of this is his efficiency has improved. Right? He's able to work better, he's able to think better, and he continues this because it is benefiting him, right? He sees he's moved up the corporate ladder, and he will continue as long as he sees some benefit for it. Now, let's say he continues this for a year and a half or so. And one day he's at a social gathering and he meets some of his old school friends who put on a lot of weight. And they say, hey, man, listen, since the last couple of years, you've lost so much weight. What is the secret of your success? And then he goes on to give how he ate better, how he got up in the morning, went for a walk, and how it has improved the quality of his life. And then a couple of his friends say, hey, listen, can you help us with this? Right? Can you help us in, getting some discipline into our lives? And now his purpose is a lot more than his efficiency. So he sets up a small group, maybe wakes them all up, takes them out for a walk in the morning, and gradually his impact is on other people. So now he's become a Kshatriya. He's contributing now to society. He stays like this for maybe a couple of years. He's motivated enough people. And now what I say is eating healthy, getting up in the morning is become muscle memory. Right? And that's a Brahmana. Now he eats well or eats the right thing, not because of impressing people or for a selfish reason, but because it's the right thing to do. He gets up in the morning, goes for a walk, exercises, not because of impressing people or their selfishness, but because it's the right thing to do. And gradually you can see how just a simple understanding of the system has helped him move from being lazy to doing the right thing.
Wonderful example. So I think it's what I'm taking away is that doing a awareness or a self-evaluation to really check in and where you are in that particular context where you're struggling in life, and then see how you can move one notch up, right? Either by finding a selfish interest or by saying, how can you take more people along with you to, for a larger purpose? And then, of course, the last one is for doing more for the greater good, right? Wherein the purpose is much bigger than who you are and you're doing it for the sake of doing it and enjoying the journey per se, right? Not really for the outcome at the end of it.
Right.
Beautiful. And I'm just thinking that there's just so many contexts in life where this can easily be applied, right? So say, for example, if I were to give my example, I've been struggling to write every day ever since my book got over, right? So I'm just thinking that there could be somewhere where I can start by simply motivating myself to get started. Or if I'm feeling like, okay, what I have to write can actually benefit a lot more people, I can go one more notch higher and actually motivate myself to stay on track with it, right? So I'm thinking that this has applicability to many other life contexts, right? Have you seen that in your classes and how this is applied across different life contexts?
Yeah. So I'll give you an example of this. Is a girl I was teaching for some time. So what happened was she was a model and she did very well. COVID happened and no business for 2 years. Right? So she dug into all her savings and came to a point where she didn't have any money. She had to actually move into a friend's place to stay, right? And then someone told her that this guy teaches. So she came to me and said, can you help me? I said, yes, I can help you, but you need to be disciplined. She said, what do you mean by discipline? I said, you can't spend money. And you need to send me a monthly statement as to how you spent your money. And she started from there, right? And gradually she started saving money. And the moment she started saving money, okay, she got the confidence, right? Once she had the confidence, she started using some of the money to help the people who helped her along the way, right? And now she's got a good system of saving, and her life has turned around. It's taken about a year and a half, right? But just understanding this system has transformed her life. So she started by saying, why should I save? I said, it's for you, right? You can live a better quality life. The moment she lived a better quality life, she was able to contribute, right? And the moment she contributed and she saw the difference in the lives of the people she touched, okay, she became an inspiration, right? And then once she was there, she realized, hey, listen, now I'm able to think better before I'm spending. I'm able to prioritize. Okay. And it's improved the whole quality of her life. A year and a half, and her life has turned around.
Yeah, yeah, amazing. And in a way, I think the often repeated axiom of, putting the mask on for yourself first and before you help others seemingly seems to be the chart here as well, right? That first you help yourself come to a stable position where you are comfortable in leading the life you are leading. And then there is a space in your life to actually think about a larger purpose of, where can I contribute? Now that I'm taking care of my basic requirements, and in a way, maybe the Maslow's hierarchy also, that you come into a certain level of comfort and say, okay, now where can I contribute to, or how can I be more useful in terms of giving back to the society?
Yes. Now, if you mix both of them, right? Now, let's say you've understood the Varna, I've explained the ashrama dharma. It becomes such a beautiful model, isn't it? It just fits in together.
Right.
Each one knows what are his strengths when he's actually going to school of brahmacharya. He knows what are my strengths and weaknesses, what is my placement in society, in a family, when he's going through grahastha ashrama. And then he's able to wean away with understanding. Right? Once understanding becomes the basis of one's life and its choices, life becomes so much more simple and meaningful, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we understand everything has a role to play in my life, and my life has a role to play in the larger scheme of things. And that's how it grows.
Right. And I think when you put them both together, the model just becomes so evident. And like you said, understanding is the basis, right? When we really understand where are we and who do we need to be to solve for that current context, right? We can actually move up and make that change happen. And in a way where it doesn't, take away, a lot of change often is very effortful. It feels like too much of a drain, or we are like losing a part of ourselves in the process. But I think when we do that one notch at a time, it is a very sustainable way of making change happen, and the chances of us probably dropping back are lesser. Have you ever seen that once you go up the ladder, it's harder to fall back to old patterns, or do you still do?
Oh, falling back is a part of the process.
uh,
But when you fall back, fall down, okay, you have that cushion to pick yourself up because you know the system to recover.
mm,
You have the know-how how to fix the problem.
yeah.
Correct? So as my teacher says, very simple, there's a frequency, intensity, and a recovery period, right?
Mm.
The more you understand and the more you're alert, the frequency comes down, the intensity comes down, and the recovery comes down.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think those are the signs you can actually look at, right? FIR, to look at whether you're
Yeah.
falling back to old ways or you're actually making progress happen.
Yes. I know this is not a part of our conversation, but I'd like to actually stress on one word which is used so commonly nowadays.
Okay.
It is this living with awareness, right?
Mm.
What does living with awareness means? According to me, okay, uh, it's living with alertness,
Mm.
right? And alertness of what? The way I am with what I have,
Mm. Okay.
right? So once I know my strengths and weaknesses, I am alert,
Mm.
right? And that alertness helps in the reduction of this FIR.
I'm just curious how you see awareness and alertness as different.
See, awareness is a very vague term, right?
Mm.
Alertness is specific.
Mm. Okay.
So
Just,
when I say, hey, listen, you become aware, you can become aware of so many things, isn't it?
mm.
Can you see the difference now?
Yeah. So living with alertness so that you notice the frequency, intensity, and the recovery. Mm.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I think this alertness and attentiveness, or whatever you want to call it, okay, helps me be very specific and directional. Once you have this, you know, you have certain areas of weaknesses, you're alert about it,
Mm.
right? When you're alert, you can do something. right? Awareness, somehow I feel, unless it's explained properly, okay, cannot take you forward.
Fascinating. Yeah. I understand where you're saying that it can be something generic and doesn't have a structure to hold itself in.
Exactly. But if awareness is, and the actual way awareness is taught by a teacher systematically, it makes a lot of sense. But for people like us who, just get knowledge out of books or some of these talks, alertness, I think, is a much better word.
Yeah. Yeah. And if I were to ask you, saying that how can someone incorporate this alertness in today's fast-paced lives, assuming, say, a corporate employee who probably is working 12 hours, 10 hours, 16 hours, right, on a regular basis, how can they be more alert in their daily lives?
So let me give you a simple example. In today's world, everyone wants everything in a hurry, correct? Let's take a simple thing. Once he understands, let's take any individual, understands that, listen, things take time, okay, and I must commit on the process, right? Because the right process will give me the right result. When he sees himself hurrying, when he sees himself being impatient, that is where the alertness will come. He can use it as a signal to say, listen, slow down. Things happen on their own. And this can be applied in anything, a relationship also. We are in such a hurry to have things our way. Right? We know we are impatient, but let's say a husband and a wife are talking, right? And the husband has this thing of, everything is my way or the highway. Right? And he says, now I'm going to make it about her. If he's alert, then he's able to catch himself, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or let's say a father and a son, or a father and a daughter. Normally, what is it? The father is know-all, and the child doesn't know anything, correct? That's the Indian typical father mentality. If he says, I want to build a better relationship with my child, then what can he do? Once he's alert and attentive of this fact that this is how I'm behaving, he has a chance to correct himself. That alertness to habitual behavior, okay, is where transformation starts. And this structure really helps.
Alertness to habitual behavior.
Yeah.
Beautiful. So I always share this in my podcast and communities that, you don't really have to change what you're doing, but just change how you approach what you're doing. And in a way, what you're saying is also that go ahead with whatever is your daily duties or your daily behaviors and patterns, but be more alert in terms of, how am I reacting? How am I responding? Is there a better way? And that alertness will then trigger that transformation.
Yes.
And I know we touched upon many things. Is there anything else that you'd like to share before we close for today?
I say this in most of my classes. We have only one life, right? And if you're going to bifurcate life into 2 or 3, okay, it's like trying to cross a river with 1 feet in 2 boats, 3 boats. It's not going to happen. So instead of looking at different new things to do, just take the same actions that you have or the same duties that you perform, change your attitude, okay, and make it about another person, right? This one small shift, I think, is really gonna help you grow much easier and quicker than anything else.
Yeah.
Don't make life about you, make it about the other person. Right? And that is dharma, no?
Yeah.
Maybe you can take home this one thing. Can I do something for someone every day? Yeah. Can I put myself at some inconvenience for another person? Small things, right? And I think this is where that transformation will start. So if you're not willing to inconvenience yourself, you're a Shudra, right? Then gradually you'll inconvenience yourself, and then it will grow up. This is how change takes place,
Yeah.
bit size.
Right.
And we have so many roles to play. We have so many opportunities. Everyone can become an opportunity.
Yeah. So can we think of the other at least once in a day?
Yes.
Powerful. Thank you, Ajay. I think the conversations are always so much more profound than even what I expected to be. And it's always a delight. Thank you so much for taking the time out to be on the show once again. And I'm sure it'll add a lot of value to all the listeners to get just more clarity on how they can approach life in a way that doesn't cause as much unnecessary suffering. So thank you for that.
Pleasure is all mine, Shweta. Thank you.
Thank you.